So, Alex, it's been a hell of a ride, and it's time to go.
If I may quote the great Kenneth Omega, I must bid you adieu, goodbye, good night, and bang.
Welcome to Every Album Ever with Mike and Alex, the podcast where we listen to every single album in the world, whether we like it or not. My name is Michael Mansour, and I'm joined for the last time ever with my co-host, vested, excited, happy, relieved co-host, Alexander Volts. Say hello.
I guess I am no longer held to the whether I like it or not part. So,
Indeed, it's whether you enjoy it. That's Alex's future of just listening to albums when he feels like it, albums that he's interested in, and not the shit we do here. And today, we're going to be ranking our favorite albums of 2025. Usually the most lax and different style episodes of our years. I think is our seventh one? Is our seventh one? I think it's our seventh.
I think we've done it every year since we started. So
no, it's our sixth. It's our sixth. I thought we had seven for some reason, but it's our sixth. So holy crap, that's a lot. And it's been quite a journey. This is Alex's final episode with us. He is moving on to bigger and better things, different things. But over here, we're still going to keep going next year. Me by myself, me with Robert, me with Tom. If you want to know more details about that, go to the Patreon right now. There's a whole video for free. Anybody can watch it, detailing what the future is going to hold. Or you can just wait till next week because there's going to be a whole new episode. It's already filmed. Stuff that's coming out next week. There's a bunch of stuff coming. It's good stuff. So stick around. Stick with me. Join the Patreon. Okay. Anyway, 2025. Sum it up in 3 words, Alex.
Oh, let me take a gander at my list to try to get like 3 words that can. I'm gonna say it was dark. I'm gonna say it was chaotic and slightly operatic.
Ah, okay. My 3 words. I think because as I asked you, I didn't even think about what I would. I would choose better than 2020 because I think it's better than 2020, but it's going to sound like I'm shitting on the year. There's a lot of good albums that came out this year. Following 2024 is unfair because 2024 I think is the best year that we've ever had with this podcast.
I think the last 2 years were easier for me. Initially going into this, I thought this was an off year for music. But then I realized I was so plugged into this podcast, knocking out those requests, that I was just disconnected from a lot of new music. And I think it was a great year, but I think, when we were doing those singles and you have more time to spend with albums, it feels a little better, where this was like a mad dash. And I think this is a strong year. It may not be obvious at first glance, but I think once you get into the weeds, it's a fairly strong year. There are this albums I couldn't get to. My friend John Guerra always sends me his year-end list, and I usually find some phenomenal stuff. I just didn't have time to get into the weeds with his stuff, so I feel bad for all the stuff I neglected on this.
I also feel bad for that because it was, dude, doing last year and the year before, we did like 20 something singles episodes, and we really got a good overview of like, okay, this is kind of 20 albums is far from representation of every album released in a year. But in terms of the stuff that we're interested in, it's like, oh yeah, this is kind of what's going on. We did like 4 this year. Like it was so much of like, what the fuck happened? What came, and the stuff that we did here, I haven't heard since. So it's like having to refresh my memory. And this also, I will say the stuff that ended up finding to be really good, it's stuff that takes a while. It's not stuff that's immediately grabbed. So a lot of the stuff that I gave like once overs or gave like sampling to, I hear, I'm like, that is good. That is good. Right now I need more. It's not that I didn't like it or that it's worse. It's just, I can tell it fucking needs more time to simmer and ruminate and to settle in, which is sadly what we didn't have. When we were covering it, was it 25 to 30 discographies in a row the past 6 months? That's tough.
I agree with you. I think I only have like 2 albums on my list where it's just like you can listen to them and it feels good right away. Everything else needed time to simmer and take it in. Usually we listen to these types of bands anyways, but when you're just moving at a breakneck speed like we did, it's harder to appreciate these albums as they've come out through the year, because some of these I threw on, didn't think much of, and then when revisiting them I had like an aha moment. So
yeah, I would say the same for me as well for a few of them. And my list, man, it's like, because I was looking at a lot of other year-end lists just to see what I missed, and seemed like, it's funny because my list, it's the most predictable bullshit. If you know me, it's the most predictable shit in the world. It doesn't make any fucking sense these bands don't make any sense with each other. But if you've watched the podcast at all, this is almost everything you're going to be able to like, oh yeah, duh, that's how I'm coming. Like, this is very predictable for me. If you know my taste, this is pretty much in a nutshell. And one thing I'm glad about that I wasn't sure was going to happen this year, I didn't phone it in. I didn't pick a thing because like, I like the band. This isn't my favorite thing by the band, but fuck it, throw it. I made it a point to like, everything on this list, it's stuff that I need to hear again. Like stuff that because there's been in the past where I hear an album, it's like, that's a really good album. I appreciate that. I really enjoy it. It's one of the better albums of the year. I'm not personally drawn to go back to it over and over again. These ones, I made sure like I want to go back to these. These are ones that are my favorites of the year. Not because even in the order, there are albums that I think are better than like one, a number 9 I think is probably better than a number 4 or whatever, but I like the number 4 more. So that's how I constructed my list. That's what made it to the list. These are just my favorites.
For sure. Unless you're voting by committee, like, yeah, of course, personal taste is usually going to win out. So that makes sense.
Hell yeah. Also, for this episode, because it's Alex's last episode, we're gonna do our list. We're gonna count. So we every 2 years we mix up how we do these year-end things. This is one we're gonna start with each of our albums of the year. No, sorry. We're gonna start with our honorable mentions, then start with our album of the year, and then going backwards. So after our album of the year, our first runner-up, second runner-up, and so on and so forth. Usually we do a countdown from 10th to 1. Fuck it, we're just doing 10 from best to worst, even though they're not worst. They made it to the list. They're literally the 10 best. But we're doing that. But after we're done with our list, as a nice little send-off to Alex, he's going to be talking about his 10 favorite albums of all time, which I imagine was a very difficult thing to put together and painful because you had to murder a lot of your favorite albums in order to do so.
Yes, and I'll get to the for brevity, for people who want to hear our 10 of the year, I'll get into my logic in picking these 10 albums when I get there. But yes, it was very, very hard.
Indeed. And there's timestamps if you just for some reason want to skip our opinions now and go straight to his, you're free to do that too. So anyway, albums of the year. Holy crap. I guess we might as well get into it. So Alex, please do the honors. What is your album of 2025?
Wait, we're doing honorable mentions first. Sorry.
Shit, I'm an idiot. I literally just outlined the whole fucking episode and then forgot. It's been 30 seconds. Alex, your honorable mentions.
So I'm just gonna go in alphabetical order here. Deftones, Private Music. We talked about that here on the show. No need to go into depth. Little Sims, Lotus, a great album. I wish I got to spend more time with. Maybe would have stood a chance of cracking my list. Mogwai, the Bad Fire. I've never listened to Mogwai before, but I don't know how this holds up with their previous work, but I was thoroughly impressed. Nas and DJ Premier, Light Years. Nas, this continues to age like a fine wine. Sumac and More Mother, the film. Finally, weird, angry metal combined with weird hip hop. It's not for everyone, but if you like weird stuff, it's worth your time. And then the last but certainly not least, and maybe if I had a top 15, Swans, Birthing. After a few other albums, I was like, I just don't have that dog in me to do a write-up for Birthing. God knows I've spent enough time on this podcast talking about Swans.
Indeed, there's been plenty of episodes.
Mike hasn't told me anything, but I guarantee you Mike will talk about this album.
Yeah,
So,
obviously. It goes a little bit without saying if you've seen the pod at all, or you're watching it right now.
So I don't feel like I've done some injustice by leaving them off my list.
Indeed. My honorable mentions I have 3 honorable mentions because the only ones I put for honorable mentions, there's a lot of cool albums. There's stuff that I'm interested in. There's even fucking Igor put an album with Trace Brewance on one track, which I thought was very fun. I'm only honorably mentioning albums that almost made it to the list in some weird way, but didn't. One is last night I heard The Dog Star Bark by Gwen Raymond, which Alex sent me. Never heard of her before, but instrumental, crazy, folky guitar thing, but technical instrumental guitar folk prog thing.
I was so blown away. Actually, I retroactively putting that on my honorable mentions as well.
It's a cool album. It's a one that like I just couldn't. Even though the reason why I didn't make the list is it was a little bit too much of one mode, too much of one type of song. I couldn't turn it off. So that's honorable. That's worth mentioning.
Talented, unique guitar player.
Very, very good guitar player. Only Dust Remains by Backwash. Backwash rarely disappoints. Very good album. A little bit different in tone than the previous 2 records, but very cool. And believe it or not, Let God Sort 'Em Out by Clips. I really like it. It's my favorite Clips album. I don't like Clips at all, but I can't even say that anymore because I enjoy that album. So there it is.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense being on your honorable mention.
Yeah. But now, actually, moving on to album of the year. Alex, 2025's best album for you.
I think that's the funniest segue ever because Clips, Let God Sort 'Em Out is my album of the year.
Shut the fuck up. Are you serious?
I'm serious. I didn't know what number 1 was going to be. And I'm just like, I didn't spend more time with any of these albums that I listened to Let God Sort 'Em Out way more than any other
Fair
album
enough.
I'm going to talk about today. And there's just no skips. Even like the auto-tune tracks have grown on me. And for reference, this is another one we talked about on the pod, but it's just flawless hip hop. And I guess in hip hop circles, there's a conversation about maybe hip hop has like an unk problem, and I'm just contributing to that, and I don't care because unks rule. It's year of unks. And
wait. So by unk problem, meaning like just OGs who are just happy that the old artists are coming back and coming out with new stuff?
Yeah,
what you mean?
like this kind of older artists dominating the conversation. Like I talked about Nas earlier, and then you know Clips. You know these are veterans, but I think these guys. You know, I think when rap was very young, it was hard for them to imagine it getting older, and I think these guys have shown how you can age up and do hip hop when you're in your 50s. And yeah, this is outside of Clips, like this is easily the best production work Pharrell's done in I don't know how long. So
it might be the only thing I enjoy that Pharrell has been associated with, honestly.
I like his early stuff, you know, his stuff with Nerd, but you know, at a certain point he went the happy route. I don't just mean like the literal song.
Yeah.
Like he went that route. He went a very different route. So the like gritty synths, the you know, songs about cocaine, of course, I found out the opening title track, Birds Don't Sing, that's actually a Werner Herzog quote where when they were filming Fitzcarraldo, he's like, the birds don't sing around here, they screech in pain. And to do
that's great.
Do a song.
Great movie too.
Where you have John Legend singing a Werner Herzog quote, that alone is album of the year type shit to me.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all. I still need to watch the doc on the making of that movie because I love the movie so much.
I don't know if it's a hot take. I think the documentary is better. This because it's so insane.
Really?
It's so insane.
I'm sure it's insane. There's something about even though what's his name Klaus Kinski was probably the worst human being to ever be birthed. Something about watching him. He's so goddamn captivating on screen. It's amazing.
Him and Werner's relationship is just, it's so funny. Like they just loved each other no matter what.
Even though they hated each other.
So yeah. But that's different. But
yeah.
Just a phenomenal album.
Holy crap. I am actually surprised. But thing is, I do like this album. I mean, the fact that Clips has gone down as one of my most unfun episodes. One of the discographies that I've hated the most. 3 albums, and that somehow made me hate it the most. Or somehow made it to be one of the bands I hate the most. It's just so not my style. And then this, from track 1, I'm like, oh yeah, this is just good. This is way better. This is actually good. You think I give a fuck about John Legend? He sounds amazing on that song.
I'm surprised too. I like this. I knew it was making the list, but number 1, and sometimes you just have to be real with yourself. And like I said, realistically, I haven't listened to any album more than this. So the triumphant return of Clips and Pharrell combined with how frequently I listen to it, that's good enough for number 1.
Holy crap. Amazing. Alex is number 1. I guess now my album of the year. It's funny. My final honorable mention was your album of the year. Your final honorable mention, of course, my album of the year. It's right there behind me. Birthing by Swans is my album of the year. Shocker. All right. Yeah, shocker.
Yeah.
So we did so much coverage. We did a whole episode talking about it with Tom, and we interviewed Michael Giroux for it back in like May or something. I think it was April or May. And so the album has already been very. I've listened to it a lot, and there's a lot of attachment to it. And then I got to meet Michael when I went to see Swans a few months back, and that was even nicer. And it was so there's already some nice emotional attachment to the album. The actual album, it's easy to forget in this whole new era of Swans. It's been since 2010, but newer era of Swans, because there's been so many albums now. And so many long, exhausting, beefy albums with a lot of ambience and a lot of shit that doesn't work for people. This one is one of the absolute best paced. It's one of my favorite albums by Swans, period. It's one of the best paced of this whole era. I think I put it above To Be Kind, which is probably blasphemy for some people, but the way it is long. All right. It's fucking, a 2-hour album, which is too much to ask for most people, I guess. But there's a thing where if you're going to make a long album, you got to make it move in a way that feels like you're watching a movie, or like you're on a boat ride or something, where when it gets big and loud, you want to feel good. When it gets pretty and quiet, you want that to feel good. The way this album does it does it in such extremes. When it goes soft and pretty, it's way, way hopeful, happy, like you're fucking sitting on a cloud. It's extreme, like flutes and shit, like really, really hopeful, really pretty, really soft and gentle, and even majestic in points. And when it gets brutal, it borders on extreme metal at times, like the most brutal they've gone. Like the extremes are intense, and then the transitions from one to the next, yeah, they're long. They're fucking 20-minute tracks. There's 6 songs on here, and the album is 2 hours. They're very long, but they still have that flow to it. It's still a perfect, waveform or something. I don't know what you call it. Like, what's the heartbeat monitor? That kind of shit. If you're in the headspace to sit and get ready to listen to a 2-hour album, then as soon as you feel like you've had too much and you're starting to get overwhelmed, or you're starting to get bored, or you're starting to get like, okay, Jesus Christ, then it fucking on a dime shifts to the complete other spectrum. And then you're reset. Your whole mindset's reset, and you're back on board, and does that for a while. And it keeps playing with that expectation for the whole thing. I think these are some of their best songs. They feel absolutely, the heavy parts feel meaner than ever and crazier than ever. The pretty parts are way more fantasy-like than ever. It's a different style of Swans, even though, of course, there's no mistaking it for fucking anybody else. And the fact that this is by Michael Giroux, his admission, saying this is the last one. This is the last big Swans album. This is the last time we're gonna do the giant crazy walls of sound stuff. It feels like, hey, we're gonna do one last wall of sound thing. And furthermore, contributing to that thing, the vinyl is exactly it's a fucking triple vinyl. It's a triple album, and it has everything in the exact same order. Whereas previous albums, the vinyl version had like a different track listing, and it was maybe some stuff was cut. This one feels like, no, dude, this is the last one. We're making this bigger than ever. We're gonna make this one absolutely the most intense, and then we're gonna stop. So it feels like a giant culmination more than all the other ones. It feels like a giant last hurrah or something. So the songs are some of my fucking favorite. The emotion behind it, the intensity behind it, and then also the experience I had this year with it. It was gonna take something gargantuan to knock this off of album of the year. And even though I think some of these other albums could have done it and are really good, nothing's touching this one.
I agree with your sentiments about pacing. This does have some of Swan's most surprisingly triumphant, feel good riffs. You totally nailed the part about it feeling mythical and majestical, and the title track is one of my favorite songs of the year. I try to make a playlist this for myself, and that made it on there, and
all 55 minutes of it.
All 55 minutes of it, and it'll probably be the last song on my playlist. It'll probably just be firmly at the end. Yeah, you pretty much nailed most. I share very similar feelings that you had. So
it's a great album. It's of course not gonna. Yeah, maybe some snippets and maybe one of the shorter tracks could like turn on new people, but unless you're ready to take the plunge for
I mean, if you've made that decision to get into Swans, I'm sure there's obviously other albums, but I do find this album oddly accessible. Like, if someone is game for this and they want to explore this type of music, I don't think it's a bad starting, because there is some of their most oddly accessible stuff between those levels of violence.
Indeed. As I said on our review episode, if you can sit through a 2-hour movie, this is kind of the same thing. You don't have to hear this a bunch of times. You could sit through this and have a full, really fulfilling experience. It feels like an auditory version of just a movie. It kind of takes you through those motions, and it's long enough to feel like, all right, that was my night. I can move on to something completely different now. It definitely, you really have to. This is not a background thing. You can't put it on while driving. Really, it's so specific. So I get it not being accessible for that, but the stuff on it, I think, like Alex said, some of the most accessible in a while. So hell yeah. So those are the ones that moved us the most. Fucking Clips and Swans. Are there any two more Alex and Mike picks for album of the year?
The way we're dressed, the genres of music, the fact that I picked a 30-minute album, Mike picked a 2-hour album. Let's go. Let's go.
Hell yes. So, first runner-up, Alex, your second on the list.
My second, surprising, but it is hands down one of the most unique albums of the year. I went with Rosalia's Lux.
Seen this on many lists.
It is well deserved. I have never heard a blending of genres like this. She is a Spanish artist who before this was very rooted in Latin pop music, although I've heard some of that, and it is weird for pop music, but it was still pop music. This, while there are elements of that, she is doing something more akin to Bjork here.
Indeed. Yeah, I heard some. I didn't hear the whole thing because I was rushing, and that's where I was. That's where we were this time. If it didn't grab me by a good chunk into it, then all right, this isn't going to make it. I'll listen to the rest later. But it was a lot better than I could have hoped for an artist that looks like it's not exactly up my alley.
Yes. And yeah, I just find her voice so charming too, because she's from Spain. So she's got the lisp.
The lisp. Yep. España.
So yeah. And her singing is just you'll just have songs on here where you're like, she is going so hard, like on Mio Cristo Pijana Dementia or something. I'm probably butchered that.
Spanish. Yep.
Yeah. And it's just like, you're like, wow, she really like went hard. And then the following track, Bergani, it's just, she's still still going. And that track has Bjork on it. The music video is delightful. There's this part where like Rosalia's like Snow White and these animals are coming. And Bjork is just a bird, not even a bird with Bjork's face, just a bird singing like Bjork.
That's fun.
And then there's just like there's songs on here like Mundo Nuvio where I'm like, I would love to hear her do like a James Bond type song after hearing that. There's the Margua, where that song is this exciting, full of energy, and like I would love to hear like the Mars Volta remix that or something.
Yeah.
Like it's just all over the place. This is a very orchestral album, but you know, there's even some songs like La Rumba where it's like, oh, we got guitar on this album too, and it's just powerful, it's diverse. I think if you're more a fan of like that weird Bjork stuff, like you don't need to be a fan of Latin music, you don't need to be a fan of pop music, although there are obviously those elements there, but this is so much bigger and broader than those two genres.
Hell yes. Moving on, my first runner up, and this. Yeah, if Swans didn't come out this year, this would have easily taken album of the year. LSD by Cardiacs. And this fucking behemoth of an album. I mean, well, goddamn.
Yeah, this is also on my list as well.
Hell yes, I'm glad to hear that because Cardiacs, we did a full episode on Cardiacs some time ago covering all their albums. And we were holding off on a Cardiacs album until this album came out because it had been anticipated for like 20 years or something like that. And not anticipated for 20, it was in the making for 20 years, but anticipated for a long time. And then when it finally came out, we did the full episode, and this ended up being you gave this one best in the episode. And I didn't give this one best, but goddamn, did I really, really enjoy it. And going back to it, because I knew it was gonna make the list. Obviously, gonna make the list. When I went back to it, I was so delighted. All the things that bothered me before, and they didn't really bother me. It was more like, I mean, the only thing that bothered me was it's very long and the vocals are mixed up because, you know, Tim Smith died like, you know, before this, and he couldn't sing for many, many years before this. So they had everybody switching vocal duties, a bunch of stuff going on. So I was in the episode, I'm listening to every album, and then I'm just missing Tim. I'm missing his voice. So this, I was like, okay, it stands out to me. Having all this time in between, the vocals didn't bother me at all. They sound great. And the fact that, well, the reason this is made it so high on the list is because maybe there's one other album on here where I can listen to it more frequently. I want to go back to it more often. I want to listen to it. It feels more easy. This is an 80-minute album. It's very long. What made it end up getting so high on the list is there's 17 fucking songs on here, and each one is amazing. That's not easy to do. It doesn't get boring. How do you not let it get even a little bit boring? There's no dip in pacing. Everything just is so unique and odd in its own different way. And it keeps up the fucking pace somehow. It keeps up the energy. It keeps up the crazy ass progressions that Cardiacs are known for, the wild, weird progressions, the speed, the strangeness, the extremely Englishness of it. It's an extremely English band, extremely English sounding songs. You could feel it in the writing. And it goes through all this stuff, and it's just how it's just remarkably consistent, super fun. And then it closes it with Pet Pheasant, and it's like, oh yeah, this is the perfect closer, the perfect send off to Tim. It's gorgeous and heartbreaking and lovely. It's just a complete package. It's damn near perfect, really, for a band that I thought was almost perfect. I didn't think they had a bad song. I didn't think the entire band had a fucking one bad song. And it ended it with this massive album that is really one of the most surprising and exciting things of the year by far.
Yeah, and to just to like keep the flow going a little bit. This is my number 3. This is the Joker album to Rosalia's Batman, in the sense that they're both very operatic, and this is chaotic. I was so moved by the Cardiac story and what went in to write and record this album. Similarly to you, how consistent it is, and yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, but it's the perfect send off to one of the most chaotic bands I've ever heard. And yeah, it's just it's weird to say there are no misses on an 80-minute, like no skips on an 80-minute album, but there really isn't. And yeah, like Skating is one of my favorite tracks of the year. It's psychedelia. There's fun guitar riffs or guitar solos. I can't tell anymore what's going on. And yeah, that song has it all. It's got 50s rock ballads. It's got math rock parts. It's got surf rock parts. It's just, it's one of the, if you only listen to one song off that, I would say listen to Skating. But this isn't for everyone. But after doing the discography and hearing about, Tim, unfortunate, medical situation and how he died, but how much work he put into writing these lyrics, I was just so moved. And the term, what's the term that's perhaps overused? A testament to the human spirit is probably overused to describe pieces of art, but I think the term is very apt here.
Apt here. The man dictated the album's construction with his eyeballs. That's really not something you hear every day, and you definitely don't get it done every day. So the ambition behind it is next to none, and the execution is, how the hell did it end up coming out this good? It's crazy.
There's bands where all the members were fully functional and healthy, and their last albums don't sound this good.
Not even close. Holy shit. So my number 2. So your number 3 is this one.
Yes.
My number 3 is also not surprising. Lonely People with Power by Deaf Heaven. Yeah, we love Deaf Heaven here. We like talking about this.
Yes, we talked about this album. This is also on my list eventually.
It would be very surprised if it weren't, because we have lots of love for Deaf Heaven here. We've talked a lot about Deaf Heaven, and I have apparently a very back and forth love them, hate them relationship with them, or love them, don't love them. And I did not like Infinite Granite at all. I mean at all, except for like one song or two songs. And then this album comes out, and it feels like they were like, all right, we know you didn't appreciate entirely what we were doing on Infinite Granite. Here's some black metal again. Have some fun with this one. And I had some fun with this one. This felt like a complete return to form. It didn't entirely feel like they were just backpedaling on the shoegazy indie thing that they were doing on Infinite Granite, but it definitely felt like we need to go real hard. We want to go real hard. So the heaviness is some of the heaviest they've ever been. It feels incredible. They've got the indie stuff is still there, but there's like one song where he's singing on it instead of doing his shrieking and screeches, which is also interesting. That like, okay, he's even shrieking on the quieter stuff here. This is definitely like they didn't want to do another Infinite Granite, which is interesting, and I'm grateful for it. But not only that, the incidental tracks, where they have Jay Matthews on one and Paul Banks on another one, where they go way off and get way darker and more experimental, and they're doing this more what would you call that shit?
Oh man, that shit. What is that shit? Yeah, I don't. They're playing with very interesting sounds and textures here. I think if Sunbather was like a obvious game changer, which maybe stay tuned if you want to hear about that. This is like initially I didn't love this. You can go back and listen to me say I liked it a lot, but revisiting it and listening to it, I was like, these guys are perhaps the tightest they've ever been. Now they're changing the game in more nuanced ways. They're not so confined to black metal anymore or shoegaze. Now it's like metal in a broader sense and alternative in a broader sense. So like I think like when you're talking about like what is that shit, like Incidental 1 is a perfect example where you're like, what is that noise? I believe I use the term like sounds like a space dog like barking, and maybe it's because the following track is Doberman. But yeah, the way they've added these textures and flourishes is just so interesting on repeated listens if you have the ear for that. And yeah, it's just like now I couldn't deny how, like, especially like at this point in their career where they could this coast by on the thing probably that they're known for, like I actually think they're a better band now. And it may not be glaringly obvious the way, again, like Sunbather, but you can't, as a fan of the band, you can't listen to this and be like, oh, they're worse, because this incredibly tight and innovative stuff, even for a band who's been innovating for like 15 years now.
Yeah, it's so much. There's so much more to it. Going back to it, because I liked it a lot when I first heard it, when it first came out, definitely. And at the time, I was saying like this is for sure third favorite album underneath Ordinary Corrupt Human Love, obviously underneath Sunbather, but it was like this still feels really good. It's still like a strong album. Going back to it, something about it felt way more intense, way more emotional, and then the hooks landed with me better. After going back to it, now I want to keep it on rotation, which is interesting. It feels so much like there was so much more to it. Now it's not, even though I still think I like Ordinary Corrupt Human Love more, it's way closer. It's way closer now, because this, man, it's not just a little taste of new stuff like with the incidental tracks, which do help the flow of it and mix things up. The things that they already do also feel, you said it feels tighter. It definitely tighter. It also feels heavier and more impactful and like chunkier. It's New Bermuda was like the first time they started going chuggy and chunky. That one felt like they were figuring it out. This feels like fine-tuned, heavy, satisfying, full.
Yeah, I think also in the genres of shoegaze and black metal, those are very much wall of sound things where perhaps individual instrumentation can get lost, especially something like the drums. And I don't know if drummer Daniel Johnson is always,
Tracy.
Daniel Tracy's always been in the band, but if he is, this is his best drumming on any Death Heaven album. The stuff I was just so enamored with it on multiple listens.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's people are liking this album, as they should. And one thing that I never really, I may have mentioned it on our episode on this album, but I really love the cover. There's something about it that just feels right. That has this, I don't know, there's this thing to it. There's a feeling behind it. It's like you look at the cover and it's like, oh, it's what is it, a prostitute or something? You're going into like someone's car window, but it's like there's something. It feels like an era. That photo feels like an era somehow. Just the way it shot, the colors of it. Yeah, it's a perfect little package. I love the way they presented this whole thing.
Yeah. Just I think it's a band you can kind of, people think they have them pigeonholed, but they still have a lot of tricks up their sleeve, even if it's not as doesn't jump out the way a Sunbather does.
Indeed. So, Alex, you're number 4.
My number 4 is Horror, Tomorrow We Escape. Holy shit, did this album just like blow me away instantly. You and me saw these cats open up for Faith No More.
That's right. Yeah.
When they were still young guns. Very interesting to me, but I don't know. For whatever reason, I didn't have the desire to seek out their albums. And then I decided to listen to this one. And like I said, immediately, the opening track, I Miss Home, just grabbed me immediately, and I was game the entire album. This is the some of the best blending of metal and hip hop I've heard in a while. They I don't know if they recorded with a band or if these are just samples, but either way, it's just the whole thing is tight. Their flows, their rhymes, the instrumentation, it. And then we get into things like Target Practice and I'm Reloaded, where it's like they feel like the hip hop love child of the Prodigy and 9 Inch Nails is bringing in some of those textures. They even bring it down tempo a little bit with Psychic Jumper, where it feels like this futuristic jazz thing, and it's just a nice pacing choice, because before that, the rest is so aggro. And in terms of bringing it down a little, we even got like Chelsea Wolf on here.
Crazy.
Yeah. As far as other guest appearances, we have the singer from Dillinger 4 on Tapeworm, which is one of the craziest hip hop or rock, whatever genre you want to throw it in. It's one of the craziest tracks I've ever heard. Definitely bringing that Dillinger Escape Plan energy to it. I've never heard like a hip hop song go that hard into like heavy math stuff before. It's a great album. If you like extreme music, if you want like something that feels like a cyberpunk album, it's great. To me, this album came out of nowhere, and I love those types of albums when I'm looking for like new stuff.
I feel like a fool. I missed this one. I knew it came out. It slipped past my compiling stuff for some reason. I think a little bit of me. The reason I didn't like immediately jump on it was I remember I wasn't a huge fan of the previous album, and I thought like, all right, well, I'll get to it. I'll get to it. I'll get to it. I didn't love the previous one, but I'll get it. Forgot to get to it. I feel like an asshole.
It's okay. That's why I'm here. Yeah, I actually think you'll dig this. It is one of the most unique hip hop albums of the year, and hands down, regardless of genre, I think one of the best albums of the year. So
nice, very interesting. My number 4, and following my habit of loving soundtracks to movies I've never seen, the soundtrack to One Battle After Another by Johnny Greenwood.
Oh shit, yeah. I enjoyed the score while listening to it. I haven't listened to it outside of...
Oh, you mean while watching the movie?
Yes. I haven't listened to it outside on its own.
I am not good when it comes to new movies or even knowing that they exist. I am in my own sort of bubble. And then I remember hearing the name, like something about DiCaprio, Paul Thomas Anderson. If Paul Thomas Anderson directed it, then obviously Johnny Greenwood did the score. That's the way he goes usually. And Johnny Greenwood is just the best modern composer for movies. I mean, just, it really feels like he's untouchable right now, because the Phantom Thread is like my third favorite album score or movie score of all time. I go back to that one constantly. There Will Be Blood, I love that one a lot. He's done so much good stuff. So I saw this came out and thought like, well, I definitely have to hear this without seeing the movie. Maybe I'll see the movie eventually, but whatever. God damn it, it's so fucking good. It's so good. It's as good as most of his other ones. Is that about as good as Phantom Thread? Really, maybe not as maybe it's not paced as well. And that's the problem with soundtracks and stuff like this. That I'm a fan of film music, but I've had to compromise my love of album pacing, because they put in the fucking ambient shit. They put in the sound effects, the track where it's just creepy suspense. It's not good for pacing. That stuff is. It's like I don't remember if it's like track 3 or 4. It's like really early. Like it's peppered in throughout the whole album, and it's it's a 50-minute album, so it's not like the best paced, but the actual songs, the pieces, the obvious kind of focal point pieces of the whole soundtrack, they are unbelievably gorgeous, shockingly diverse too. You hear a lot of Radiohead on this one, more than some of the other ones, because I didn't take notes on this like a jackass, but I forget which track it is, but there's a lot of percussive stuff on here, and Radiohead percussive shit when you hear it. Their grooves, what I mean. It's like they have a very distinct style, or very polyrhythmic. There's a lot of that on here, way more than I was expecting to hear. But the range in emotion and mood is about as wide as we always get, where you get these really bright, not I want to say flowery, something very spring-like, very moving like that. And then you get the morose, full-on dirges. And then you get these kind of odd melancholy pieces. You can call them mood pieces, but they're too dynamic. There's too much writing in them. There's too much melody in them. So these are like, he makes my favorite scores because they do feel like albums. I listen to this just like an album. It flows that well, despite the few, ambient, suspense, scary tracks. Despite those, it does flow really well. And their orchestral arrangements, but what he does with orchestral arrangements is he fucking does them differently. He makes them more intimate. They're still really full and big, but they feel way closer to you. There's way less space and reverb in it. It doesn't feel cinematic the way a lot of scores do, which I find to be pretty boring. It feels very close, very intimate. And then he throws in different weird kind of percussion, weird drums. There's bass. There's like a lot of bass to it. It's fantastic. It's just such a fucking. I'll watch the movie. At some point, but goddamn it, I'm keeping this one for a long time.
I think a lot of modern movies scores can feel like background music, and I mean that like derogatory, because sometimes that is the move for certain films, but now it feels more like a crutch. This is one of the few instances where I felt like the score and what I was seeing in picture were having a back and forth and complemented each other in the way I think some of the best scores should.
That's wonderful to hear. That's how I felt, because my favorite score of all time is Once Upon a Time in the West. And then I didn't see the movie until years after I had been binging the album. When I finally watched the movie, you see that the score was written along to the movie. Like that's how it was produced. It was make something that follows this scene. So Morricone actually, so it feels like a back and forth, like something was following it, like it was made for it. It's a very different feeling.
It's just like the guy that does the Seinfeld bass played it every time because he wanted to time it to Jerry's jokes. You think it's the same one every time, but no, he insisted. He's like, no, there's like a fluidity, and you could see video of it. It's just like that. It's just like that.
That's exactly, and that's why Seinfeld is the greatest show in the history of television, and why Once Upon a Time in the West is the greatest score ever written. Absolutely. Holy crap! What's the difference? Honestly.
Yeah. So I guess moving on.
Yep.
And I hate to take you back in so fast, but this is my number 5 is Deaf Heaven's Lonely People with Power, and check it out. Check out The Garden Route, and I did forget to say Revelator is like a damn near Lamb of God riff, pretty much.
Oh yeah,
that's something they wouldn't have done before. So pushing it in extremes and the alt thing, I don't think they're just pigeonholed to black metal and shoegaze anymore. Now everything's on the table.
That's exactly what I meant about them. The chunkiness and heaviness feeling way more realized than before. Songs like that for sure. My number 5, and I swear not every single thing on my list is something we've covered before, but we did do an episode on this one. The World Is Still Here, and So Are We by McCluskey. I was so charmed by this album when it came out. I was so relieved that their reunion album is just as good as their other albums. And it was like, all right, I was lit up by it. It was so fun. It's so quirky. It's so odd. It's so them. They're in some ways, it's even weirder than a lot of their other albums. And so I had a feeling, yeah, I'd still enjoy it, still make it on the list. I went back to it. Man, I fucking love this album. It's McCluskey. It is exactly so. With a band like McCluskey, even if they don't evolve that much, they're so fucking nuts and weird and out of control that it doesn't feel like you're stagnant. At least I'm sure bands can feel like they're stagnant when they're like that, but they haven't yet. And there's stuff in it that they have this energy to them. This really wiry energy where part of the riff is just what's his face? It was a Damien, the singer, wailing, ranting by himself, maybe under like a drum click or something like that. The most bizarre, ridiculous lyrics that you've ever heard, and it's wonderful. I mean, they have some of the funniest song and album titles of all time, and God, I mean, for fuck's sake, Kafka-esque novelist Franz Kafka. That's a great song title. That's fucking retarded. I love it so much. This whole album is just so fun. It's perhaps, looking at my list, it is the most fun album on my list. I really enjoy the shit out of this one.
I need to revisit this. McCluskey is super fun, and I probably should have revisited it, but I think my soul was yearning for other things. But I will come back to it.
McCluskey really hit a part of my soul when we first covered them. Like I really liked them. They this the lightheartedness, and it's like a almost surreal, really almost surrealist, bizarre lightheartedness. Like it's very funny and very silly, but it feels fucking crazy and weird, and like this guy's little, and you don't want to be around this guy too much. This guy's fucking weird and creepy. That's like, you feel like that, like the really charismatic, funny guy, but he's not stable and he's kind of dangerous. So you don't want to hang around with him too much. That's what McCluskey is. That's how I felt about the band. That's how I feel about this album. I love it. I don't want to hang around with them all the time, but it's great.
Amazing.
Hell yeah. Your number 6.
My number 6, which I kind of feel bad for because it was 5, but I did a little switcheroo. Is Agriculture, the Spiritual Sound. Initially, I thought this was better than Lonely People with Power because I am, again, talking about an artsy black metal band. But listening to that, again, it goes back to, like, I just can't deny how fucking tight Deaf Heaven is. So
right.
they eked it out in the artsy black metal spot. But this,
I will say, this album did make my list as well.
Nice. This, similarly to Lonely People with Power, is so unique. I've liked Agriculture for a while, but here, I saw them do this album live before I heard the audio stuff. And so, like, live, sometimes, your memory could play tricks on you, or you hear things that maybe sound better live or not as good live. And then on the album, it's a different beast. And I'm glad how I remembered the album being performed live is very much on here. The opening track, My Garden, just opens with that nasty bass tone, and they have these dizzying, chaotic riffs that they weren't doing on their previous albums. Again, chunky riffs. If people think like Deaf Heaven's too much, boy, oh boy, you're really not going to enjoy Agriculture's softer alt-rock vocals, which I think work for them. It gives them a unique lane to function in and gives them their own voice. The track Flee, this continues to smash the alt-rock and metal together. Micah has them going in a more like thrash punk direction. The Weight is appropriate title because it's heavy as fuck, they close it out with these hideous guitar solos and playing that I love. They have these songs like Dan's Love Song where it's like taking from the shoegaze wall of sound thing, but it's not actually shoegaze. And then how do you
Bodhidharma.
Oh man, I love that.
Bodhidharma.
I love that song so much. The groovy drum beat. Some of my favorite metal riffs of the year. And then to just like, I think the whole like black gaze thing is like going from extreme to like chill, but here it's more like a volume thing where the extreme, the volume is like an 11, and here they like it's these quiet vocals and like snare and bass, and I think it's so simple, but it works well. And they bring in these like Metallica guitar riffs similar to Death Heaven, where it's like, okay, now the entire genre of metal is on the table. We're not just dealing with black metal anymore. And the Reply is just one of the best closing tracks of the year.
I'm gonna go ahead and second pretty much all of that. I really like. So this was a. I'll get into it more when it reaches my point on the list. But yeah, incredible album. This. Because I did really much. How many albums do they have? Don't they have like 2 albums, right?
They have like 2 and like an EP and
a couple EPs. Yeah.
So they're still a very young band, but yeah, they have a hopefully long career in front of. But this is without a doubt their best album to date, and even though it's a very short discography.
Yeah, because I was a fan of the self-titled album. It didn't make my list or anything in 2023, but I was like, all right, they're on my radar. I like this band. This one is, yes, it is a lot better. And the range here, the alt rock, indie, soft vocals, they work for me. The soft, all the is it Dan's Love Song that says the acoustic one? I'm forgetting.
Hallelujah had like
yeah.
It was like these really nice misleading guitar riffs, and they like go into like blasting.
Yep.
But it flows so flawlessly.
So that's what I mean. Yeah, the tracks really do bleed into each other. The pacing here is fucking flawless. The way I think is it the closing. Yeah. It's the final baseline. The final baseline of Mika, whatever.
Okay.
And it leads right into the weight, like that kind of thing where it sets up what you're about to hear. That reminds me a little bit of how Knock Loose did it last year.
Oh yes, yeah.
Where it kind of sets up the riff in one track and then it takes over on the next one. The range here is fantastic. There's stuff here like Mika 5:15 a.m. where when I first heard it, I thought, okay, this is the one that loses me. This is the one that's kind of punky, and it's like I don't love that riff so much. And then as I kept listening to the album and I kept hearing it, it's like those guitar lines, they're just so pretty. I can't help not fuck it. And it eventually just completely won me over, which took the only weak link in the album away. Yeah, this was, without giving away the number just yet, this was very low on my list and then just shot way up.
Like, oh wow, that's great to hear.
This dethroned several other albums. It's undeniable. And also, fun note, this is my lady friend's album of the year.
Good. I love to hear that.
She does not like black metal or metal. And that's always like, holy crap, like this really resonated. This is a very moving album.
Not like I've like hung out with the band, but exchanged a few words, brief. They just seem like some of the nicest fucking people ever too. So whatever intention or feeling that was made with this album, it really bleeds through. Like there's something that really, really moving about these songs that hit you more than a lot of other albums this year. There's stuff on my list that I think is well written, good produced, well constructed songs, but you feel these ones more. This is I don't know. There's something that there's some magic in the studio for this one. 100%. Yeah, I will say very chaotic. I think it was about last December when I heard this album performed. It was a charity show, and because it was a charity show, they were like, you can't yell at us for not playing the songs you want to hear. And we haven't played any of these songs live before. So it was the first time being performed, and I'm sure there were mistakes, but they were like, we don't feel right going into the studio unless we've done these live. So they like felt that was necessary. And to me, that paid off for them.
Yeah. There's some sort of earnestness in all of it, and in the way it's put together, and clearly the way it was recorded. If they needed to play it live in order to kind of prove to themselves that they're ready. And so, yeah, fucking. Oh, I didn't realize Emma Rundle does guest vocals on the Reply. I did not realize that. Look at that.
I didn't know. Yeah, they always hang out with cool people, it seems like. So
yeah, not overlap there, but very cool. That was your number 6.
Yes.
At my number 6, and again another very predictable one. If you know who I am, In the Earth Again by Chat Pile and Hayden Pedigo. The Chat Pile collab album, which is like, oh, that's interesting. What the hell is this? And then I looked up Hayden Pedigo. I listened to his album. His album from this album is good. It's just a different style. It's another one of those albums where I would need a little bit more time with it. It didn't grab me immediately on first listen, but I know there's stuff there. This one, In the Earth Again, is very interesting because it shows, because of the collab, because for those who don't know, Hayden Pedigo, he's a guitarist, like folksy, experimental kind of guitarist, though. Very more emotional, from what I've heard, more emotional, very technical, not super unlike Gwennifer Raymond in that kind of style of it, like instrumental, more heartfelt, technical folk, guitar-driven folk stuff. So he's that guy. And if you know Chat Pile, they're sewage. They are the most delicious sewage you'll ever taste. So I was very curious about this collab. It's Chat Pile essentially going quiet, going clean and quiet and pretty and emotional. And it's not entirely, there's still moments on here that are fucking brutal and heavy and feel incredible, like you would expect from Chat Pile. But the fact that it dances between the two, and then we get this other taste of it, and there's some stuff here that's just mostly Hayden and his style. That stuff really does work with the pace. Like, it fits the pacing. It has, where Chat Pile usually has good pacing, but it's like up here, like the highs and lows they stay high because they're always so intense and grimy and dirty. You get bigger spikes now. You get bigger dips, deeper valleys now because of how close and quiet they go. And it's still very dark and it's a pretty depressing album, honestly. But goddamn, I like the way it was pulled off a lot. It's something that kept making me want to come back to it. It has some of Reagan's most like tear-jerking vocals and the most soft, and like, because he gets very emotional when he sings. You feel like the intensity of the word he's saying. He does a sincere quality about his voice. But like on the closer, A Tear for Lucas, like his voice is cracking. It sounds like he's about to cry. It's like, God damn, like this is a very different flavor of Chat Pile, and it's welcome. I would say it's welcome.
As someone who loved Chat Pile's last album, I feel very silly for just not getting around to this, but I think I was so beaten down. I was like, I have enough depressing albums. I'm sure it's phenomenal. I'm very excited to listen to it, but emotionally, I just couldn't deal. I needed something else.
It is depressing. There was a lot of instrumental stuff on here for sure, but even then, it still has a lot of darkness to it. Beautiful album, really interesting, and it also shows that Chat Pile can do it. Even though there was like taste on Cool World of them going a little bit cleaner and a little bit quieter, this shows that, like, yeah, maybe it took the collaboration with a guy who does more of that stuff, but they can do it. It sounds pretty damn good. I'm excited to hear what they do next.
Yeah, big fan of Chat Pile, but not big enough to stay up to. I don't know.
I'm a straight up Chat Pile fanboy at this point. So
I can listen to albums normally next year. So without the pressure of time restraints.
Indeed. So you're number 7.
My number 7. This is another one that like snuck up on me, and like I'm surprised the spot it got on my list. I mean, number 7's lower, but like. It's Freddie Gibbs and the Alchemist. It's Alfredo 2, baby.
I definitely didn't hear this one.
I don't love the Alchemist the way other people do. I think sometimes he gets like he has a very strong, distinctive production style, to me at least. And sometimes this doesn't hit. This album is one of those albums where I had that aha moment. I love like a good late night hip hop album, and I was driving at night with this on, and that's when it clicked. This is one of those like great late night vibes albums. The beat making is immaculate. I'm always a fan of Freddie Gibbs. So much like Alchemist, though, sometimes it's just like it doesn't have enough, but I think all the vibes are right, and everything this like a good Alfredo just came together here. The like piano samples throughout it, and like the opening track 1995 is very chill, but they have this like cool guitar shredding sample that this sounds like a band playing. The track Mar-a-Lago, they're this locked in. One of my favorite song titles of the year, Lemon Pepper Steppers. Just sounds hilarious.
Say it fast, I dare you.
Well, at one point he goes, "She sucked my dick after church in my lemon pepper steppers." It's just I love Freddie.
What the fuck is all those shoes? What the fuck does that even mean?
Also, yeah, also, they're one of the best promo photos ever. It's like Freddie Gibbs in like a kimono with a samurai sword and like two Japanese women in bikinis. It's one of the greatest like promotional photos I've ever
God
seen.
damn it. Oh yeah, I see it. That's pretty good. God damn.
So yeah, these like very nice like chill, this like hanging out piano samples throughout, but occasionally on songs like Skinny Shug 2, you get these synths which sound very 90s, but it's not like these upbeat like 80s synths. They still very much like fit the vibe of the album. I think Lavish Habits, Alchemist is using like these twangy, almost like tropical guitars, but it still sounds very soulful. There's this very like creative sampling and back and forth between Gibbs and Alchemist here. And then like Jean-Claude is just one of the funniest songs of the year. It's like a fever infused sex dream. It's so fun. So
nice. Very interesting. And honestly, sparking of curiosity just based on the album cover, which is I find to be weirdly awesome. I guess you just draw a picture of noodles and I'm fucking sold.
Yeah, because the first one was called Alfredo because it's the same, almost identical album cover, but with Alfredo. Here I don't know why it just wasn't called Ramen. Should this be called Ramen? Because
sequels sell better than new IPs.
Even in music.
Yeah. But my number 7 is the Spiritual Sound by Agriculture. So yeah, that was number 10 and it shot up to number 7.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, great album. Go check it out. Alex, you're number 8.
My number 8. This is one of the most depressing, unsettling hip hop albums I ever heard. Billy welcome back, Billy Woods with Gollywog.
Oh, I didn't hear the whole thing.
Holy shit. And it is an album you have to listen to the whole thing because one or two songs may not grab your attention, especially a lot of these are like under 3 minutes, so it's very short. But yeah, there are just times where it's like, this is a horror movie. I'm listening, like an unsettling horror movie. There's this song Star 87 where like they're mixing strings seamlessly with phones ringing. It's crazy shit. what else we got on here? We have like Waterproof Mascara, where it's like this spooky theremin thing with someone crying. Very creepy, unsettling thing. Alchemist is on here with Counterclockwise, again trying to like buck. I think he's like trying to buck the like Alchemist sound, because Counterclockwise is one of his most creative, innovative beats I've ever heard. It's like dark prog rock music, very interesting stuff. We got LP from Run the Jewels producing a track Corinthians on here. I love the way the song starts out. It's just Billy Woods rapping over these simple string samples, but when this guy D-Spot jumps on the track, then you get like the bass and drums with the strings. Very like creative stuff. Again, in the like creative beats and sampling, all these worlds are yours. You won't hear beats like this on any other album except for like maybe Arm & Hammer, which Billy Woods is in. It's crazy. And like some of his lyrics too, like he has this line, amputation is how you survive. You can't make it out alive unless you leave something behind. I'm like, fuck, that is deep, brother. That's
goddamn.
That's heavy. So lyrics like that really, really stuck with me. And then yeah, it like closes off just as strong too, because there's a lot of tracks on here, but like I said, it's very short, so it can feel a little overwhelming in that way. Yeah, the closing, the last thing I'll say is like Dislocated, the closing track. This beautiful strings, pianos, but they decide to throw this like chaotic drum solo in it. And it blows my mind that it's sampling, because they all just work so seamlessly with the vocals. I've never heard, similarly to horror, I've never heard a hip hop album like this. Billy Woods in his older age, this continues to be an innovator in the game.
Holy shit. Very cool. I also see that Ant did the produce one track, Cold Sweat, which I wasn't expecting that either.
Oh, you got like a who's who of, you got, I left out Kenny Siegel and Ant, and it's this, man, it is cool, surreal, and creepy, and you can't really use all those words to describe a lot of hip hop albums.
Indeed. Yeah, definitely more. Yeah, I regret not finishing the album, but yeah, you know the deal.
Another one, I think much like Horror's album, like when I hear, because for me, like rhymes can get me, or like if the beat just feels good, it can get me. But when I hear production like this, which is just so off the wall and so different, I'm like, Mike will for sure like love this production.
God, yeah. Well, I guess I have some homework to do after all. But my number 8 is another Latin, super not surprising one for me. Noble and Godlike in Ruin by Deerhoof. I am starting to like Deerhoof a lot more in the past few years, because that is a band that I've always had mixed feelings on. They have at least one of my favorite albums of all time, and then 50 other albums that I'm like, all right, that's cool. That one's not so good. That one's cool. That one, you just go back and forth with them. Their album from, was it 2023, Miracle Level? That was my favorite of theirs in like a decade or longer. And this one, I was expecting a dip. And even though I don't like it as much as Miracle Level, it is not really a dip. This is surprisingly great. And there was some surprises. There's other surprises in here, like the fact that Under Rats has Saul Williams on it was like, what the fuck is what? It doesn't make any sense to me.
That makes sense for Deerhoof. They've always been like more adventurous.
They definitely do a bunch of wild shit, and that's kind of what made them. That's how they were pitched to me actually years and years ago. It's like, yeah, every album is just the most different thing in the world. They just refuse to repeat themselves. And while that is true, they have their tone. They sound the same on every album. Like their tone sounds the same. The songwriting, you can find pieces that are like, all right, that's a Deerhoof type of thing that they're doing right there for sure. Some kind of repeated choices, I guess, but overall, the way they've kept it fresh for years and years and years is really impressive. And this album, from the pacing up top, is very fucking good. I was surprised at how hard songs like Sparrow Sparrow hit. Like, they fucking hit hard. And they're also doing this thing. I think they've always done it to a degree, but just stood up to me a lot here, where their guitar work from John and Ed, it's so weird. It doesn't make sense that it works, because they're playing these harmonies with each other that sound completely separate from what the bass and drums are doing. It's very Beef Hardy in that sense, where it's like, yeah, bass and drums are holding it down, and then guitars are doing this ding 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 ding. It sounds like almost like a wind chime, where there's no rhythm to it. It's just sort of like, but they're perfectly in sync with each other, and they're really pretty melodies, and it's really fat and bottom heavy with the rhythm section. So then you're just feeling super fucking cool. And there's also lots of like really pretty softer moments on here. The pacing is pretty good. There's the little chunk. There's a couple songs I'm not super big on that get really crazy. This album gets really, really wild in a couple spots. Under Rats with Saul Williams is one of the spots where it gets really wild. It's a very weird song, but very interesting. But the other stuff is proggy and satisfying and very, like I said, bottom heavy and full. It's fucking cool. It's like, I'm very critical of Deerhoof's albums, because I know how much I can love them. So whenever they don't reach anywhere close to that, I get like a pretty let down. This is like, yeah, they're on a good kick. They tend to have like these little pockets where they'll put out like 2 or 3 albums in a row that are like fucking amazing, or at least for, you know, what I consider amazing. And I think they're in the pocket for this one. I think this is a great addition. Perhaps even my 4th or 5th favorite album of theirs out of everything.
I feel weird because I've known for decades Greg is one of the greatest drummers alive, and I just have never made the time to listen to Deerhoof, but maybe I'll get around to it now.
They're a tough band to recommend because every album is so crazy different, and you don't really know what's going to land with whoever you're, I guess, recommending them to. Because my favorite album is Breakup Songs, and that's like the first one that has like a lot of electronic elements. And I think Greg played I think that was the first time he played the whole thing with E-drums. But you know, you can't tell they're E-drums or whatever. But unless only on a couple songs you can. But
I had a friend who dressed up like the Milkman from their album Milkman, and they like bought him up on stage.
Did he have bananas in his armpits also?
Unfortunately, he didn't. But yeah, he should have done the bananas and the strawberry. I think that would have done it. But
I haven't heard that album in a long time. Yeah, it's been a good while since I've heard that one. But they have so many albums, but so many of them are very good. But there's also a lot of them where like, oh, that's fucking amazing. And then the pacing of that album is just like, and you kind of like. I think I couldn't call it one of their famous albums. I don't know what the fuck their famous albums are, but I remember when Friend Opportunity, it was one that was talked about a lot. And that one it's one of my favorite ones, but I don't love it because there's a lot of stuff on there that's kind of iffy. But then they have other stuff like, I think La Isla Bonita is one of the absolute best. And that's like another one of those pockets where it's like, oh, they were just completely on point during this chunk of years. Yeah, but again, it depends who you ask. There's so many different faces of Deerhoof, but this one I think is a good face.
Nice.
Number 9 for Alex.
Number 9, bit of a surprise. Ethel Cain, Willowbreed Trucker, I'll Always Love You.
Oh, I've heard a lot about this one. Didn't finish it though.
So she came on my radar because she also put out this album called Perverts. And that is more like what we cover on this podcast. I think that's more your speed. And so after listening to that, I was like, okay, she is not similar to Rosalia, not a stereotypical pop artist. And, you know, this is making the rounds. And I think this is another thing where like you have to listen to it start to finish. Well, at least if you're like us here. I don't think like I wouldn't really be sold on 1 or 2 of these songs. It's the complete package here that sold me. This is a like Yeah, this is just kind of like one of those albums where I'm like, yeah, this is what 2025 sounds like. You you have these ominous guitars to open up with Jamie, and then Kane's very like grim lyrics. They're almost like very like Kurt Cobain-esque at times, but there's this like gothic country twist to them. The Willoughby's theme is just, in her own words, like straight up Twin Peaks worship, and it rules. But it does take this like darker tone where it sounds more like something on the Annihilation score. Fuck Me Eyes, pivots into the most poppy thing on here, but even then it's called Fuck Me Eyes. It's still pretty dark. This woman hiding emotional trauma with sex. Needles is this like very Nettles, very like Americana. It's beautiful, but it's also very morbid. I just love the like balancing act of dark and beauty this album does in particular. And I think, like, for me, the album really picks up at the end. I think Dust Bowl is phenomenal song. At times it can sound like the band Earth, and then like these big heavy guitars come in, and after I heard Dust Bowl, I was like, okay, this is making it on my list. I jokingly came up with the term cowboy boot gaze instead of shoegaze. I love the guitar playing on A Knock at the Door. When people are playing an acoustic guitar and you can kind of hear these like ugly chord changes, if that makes sense. And then Radio Towers is just it's really spacey, and it's great. And also like Tempest is one of the best songs on here. It's powerful. There's times where it reminds me of Chelsea Wolfe, and the final 2 minutes of Tempest is some of the best shit you'll hear this year.
Holy shit. I need to go back to this one because I did not finish this one. Also on Dust Bowl, you got members of Duster on there, which I've never heard Duster before, but it sounds like it's about, well, they call it slowcore. So I don't know if it would match that, if the song would match that at all.
Yeah, I don't know what slowcore is. I don't know if you'll be completely sold on this one, but I do think it's worth a listen, and at minimum, I think you would appreciate the musicality behind it.
Fair enough. Yeah, because I did see this one around. I gave it a couple. I gave it a little chunk, but I did not finish it.
No, it's like you got to get locked in with it, because I don't even know if like Dust Bowl or Tempest would have sold me completely, but like the whole package, it does feel like cinematic, not in the derogatory way you use it, but like this is a movie I'm listening to.
Yeah, that's the thing where I said at the top, where a lot of these albums, they needed more time, and fucking Birthing made my album of the year because I had time with it. If I would have tried to give that a once over within the past 2 weeks, I would probably not have made my fucking top 10. So that's just the way it is. This is the way it goes, which is unfortunate, but yeah, with merit. So I'm glad it made your list.
Hell yeah.
My number 9, and this one I have lots of thoughts about, but it still made the list. Forever How Long by Black Country New Road. So they are a new band now. So the previous album, Answer From Up There, was my album of the year for 2022. And it has since made it into one of my all-time favorite albums list. Like, I love that album so much. And as the story goes, right before it was released, singer, main dude, well, I don't know if he was the main songwriter, but like vocalist, I feel like he had a huge hand in the songwriting. Isaac Wood, he left the band right before the album came out, and then they said, okay, we're not going to play any of these songs live. We're just going to continue without him and do this new thing. And here's the new thing. It is not nearly as good as with Isaac Wood. It's like not even close. It's crazy how not even close it is. It's still good though. So I can, looking at it or listening to them as a different band, I'm able to really appreciate that there's a lot of work put into this. It's a lot of creativity. There's a lot of pretty well written stuff here, really intricate and well executed instrumentation, because the members of the band are all excellent, and they I know they record all this shit live for the most part, and when they play live, they pull it off perfectly. So it's like you, even in the construction of the songs, you could feel how this wasn't some dude who recorded this track and then sent it to someone else, and then they came up with the part and then they sent it back. It feels way more flowy, way more not improvisational, but way more like the members of the band had to be looking at each other in order to know what's coming next, because there's so much fluidity to it. And there's no metronome, there's no rigidness. You have to kind of be like ready to, or waiting for this person to say this one vocal line, and then you come. It's like it's very rehearsed, and the songs are very pretty. My problems with it are, well, one, the opening track Bessies, which my lady friend hates to her core, which I find to be funny. She hates it, but I like it. It's just the most Beatles worshipy thing I've heard in a long. I mean, it's just a fucking Beatles song. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's like, what the fuck is this? It's nauseating coming off of the last album, hearing that. But I think it's a good song. I think it's pretty. I think it's well written. I like it more every time I hear it. But it's not super original. The vocals are now primarily done by Georgia Ellery. She's taken over vocals. She is a technically significantly better singer than Isaac Wood. I don't give a fuck about her voice. It's not doing it for me. She's a nice voice, pretty voice, good singer. There's so much pain and sincerity in Isaac's voice, the way it cracked, the way he muttered things, the way he kind of spoke and rambled, and the way he screamed. There was a lot you felt, even though he wasn't the greatest, he wasn't a fucking opera singer or anything. She's doing perfect form, really nice harmonies, doing all this stuff. It just doesn't stick with me. It doesn't hit me in my core. There's songs on here that I think are really goddamn good. Like it's really the second chunk of the album is where it takes off, because I think the first half is a little iffy, which is why this was much higher on my list and it dropped down to 9 because of that. So like there's like a chunk in the front half that I have problems with, but Happy Birthday on track 7 on is where it starts to really pick up and the dynamics really kick in. And there's a lot of dips. There's a lot of really minimal sections with like 2 instruments, and it goes on for a while. And then it comes in with this big thing. Feels a lot more impactful like that. There's only 2 songs in the whole album that feel like it's Black Country New Road. And that's, I think, Socks is one of them, where you can kind of get hints of the writing style of the previous album. And then Nancy Tries to Take the Night. That one straight up sounds like it should have been on Answer 'Em Up There. And that was like, it's almost weird hearing that song, because it's like, oh yeah, this is the same band. Holy shit. Because everything else has this femininity to it, not just because of the female vocals, but the whole album feels lighter and a little bit more upbeat and kind of happy and softer. Whereas before, I think the band had a blending of the two, more masculine and feminine kind of traits, which is why I liked it so much, because you got this really gentle soft stuff, and then you got really powerful, emotional, devastating stuff. This doesn't have anything devastating on it. This doesn't have anything that's going to make me cry on it like the last album. It's a good album, but I think it's a whole new fucking band, and I maybe don't like them quite as much now.
But still better than most of the stuff that came out. And
still good, still really good. I think still very, very good. Yeah, like I was first listen, I was disappointed, but I was like, this is still like really well done. Like I still enjoyed my time with it. And I still wanted to hear it again. Still went back to it multiple times after that. So I'm being critical only because of how, I mean, I thought you're comparing it to one of my favorite albums of all time. Of course, there's going to be some criticism in there. Of course.
If that's the way you feel about number 9, very excited to hear about how you feel about number 10.
I have much nicer things to say about number 10 because it wasn't following one of my favorite albums of all time. This one had big shoes to fill, and it just didn't fill them for me. But it's still, I mean, if you go from number 1 to number 9, obviously there's going to be like some bittersweet sweetness to it. But that's my number 9. Your number 10.
My number 10. I wanted to close this out with something that this feels good. It's maybe not even the 10th best, but you know what? I like it. It's just straight up comfort food. The Melvins Thunderball.
Alex, my number 10 as well.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I couldn't not put this on the fucking list. I couldn't not.
I could not put it on my list, but I'm not going to put it on my list because it feels so good. This is just straight up, like, more so than anything else. This is like 10,000% personal preference.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Same. This is I'm delighted by this album.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. This is perhaps their hardest hitting album in a while. King of Rome still hits like a fucking truck. Victory of Pyramid is like one of the most phenomenal things they've done. I want to hear like a Melvins orchestra. I want Dale, I want Buzz, I want Cody, I want Steve, I want Trevor Dunn, and I want Void Mains. And
Mike Dillard and the rest.
I want
like, Nimitris,
yeah, all the this like do a Melvins orchestra. I think that'd be crazy.
That'd be something else. Yeah, this album was absolute delight when it came out. Like, oh shit, hell yeah, this is because this is technically Melvin's 1983 because there's no Dale on this album. It's just Buzz and Mike Dillard, the first drummer, and yeah, this is for sure the best Melvin's 1983 album, and really one of the most, because it is really the closest they've been to like the classic sludge era Melvins in a long time. So that alone, it's like, oh, that's fun. It's nice to have a little bit of that again. I don't need them to do that. I mean, I like them when they keep doing shit I'm not expecting, but it's been so long since we've had a straight sludge Melvins that it's like, fuck yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna say no to this. This feels great.
Yeah, I agree with you totally. And it's just, I don't know, it's just cool to know they can still do it. Like, I'm sure if the Melvins aren't your bag or like you feel fatigued by their albums, this isn't going to do anything for you. But as a long time Melvins fan and someone who loves what they do, like this is like a nice hug is what this is.
It's a nice hug. Yeah, it would have been higher on my list, but the fact I'm not super sold on like on Vomit of Clarity, like the electronic stuff. I just felt like it kind of overstayed its welcome a little bit for the spots that it was in. I like them doing that, but I didn't like how it was paced. That's the only reason why it's not higher. But other than that, I mean, it's Melvin's fucking rule. They just never not rule. One of the greatest goddamn bands in existence. I love them.
It's that simple. And yeah, I think the rest of my list, I went for more innovative stuff. I think, oddly enough, Clips and Melvins are the only, and maybe Freddie Gibbs, are like the only things where you can just put on and vibe. Everything else is very like pushing music forward. It's very like complex. The other albums have these like profound things to say. And then, yeah, I can't justify putting comfort food any higher than 10.
Fair enough.
Amazing comfort food.
Yeah, it's great. And but yeah, both of our number 10s. Hell yes. So that's our list. We wrapped this one up quicker than any year we've ever done.
Insane. I don't even know how that happened. I don't know. There's been years where we've had more similar picks. So we're just seasoned pros, and I had to blow it all up as it got the most efficient.
The most efficient, exactly. So yeah, check out all those albums. They're fucking. It's still, despite the fact that I came out of the gates hot and kind of critical. Like I say, 2024. Still, these are great albums. Most of which are going to be like, oh yeah, these are going to be around for a good while. These are, and some of the fucking, at least several of like my favorite albums from the band. So, god damn it, how can you argue with that?
Strong year, and there's just so much I haven't listened to that I'm looking forward to taking my time.
Taking your time. Yep. But now that we've reached the end of our year-end list, it's time to say goodbye to Alex with his final segment, I guess you would call it a segment or whatever. Now it's time to get a little sentimental because 6.5 years, almost about 6.5 years, we've been doing this podcast. You have been with every episode, you have dedicated hours and hours and days and cumulatively weeks of your life. If you were to just isolate all the time listening to albums, they would equal out to weeks and months. That's how much fucking music.
If not years.
Maybe 1 year. I don't know. But
a solid year.
So you've dedicated so much of your life to this. So I am very grateful. Thank you for deciding to go on this little venture. Maybe it's not going to last forever, but it was fun. It was exhausting, but it was fun. And it took a lot of effort and dedication and time sacrificing and commitment that I think the vast majority of people aren't going to bother with, because it's, you hear the job description, you're like, fuck that. That's no. But you're like, yeah, why not? And then you stuck with it for 6.5 years. So for that, we thank you, Alex.
And yeah, thank you. And like, you like, I think you knew that in your bones. That was like one of the things when you came up with this. You're like, I don't know who else would commit to this.
Yeah.
So
there's really no one. There is no one.
Well, now there's no, but you got 6.5 years.
Yeah. So moving forward, it's going to be me mostly by myself, but bringing in Alex, not Alex, Ferd and Slip, bringing in Tom and Robert from time to time for full discographies, but it's going to be a different thing. It's going to be a lot of fun, but yeah, stay tuned for that. Go to the Patreon if you want more. Next week, is of course going to be the first episode of something different. But to send it off, Alex's top 10 favorite albums of all time, and I don't even dare to ask if you rank them, because that would be criminal.
No, I didn't rank them because picking 10
is already
picking 10 already. I
don't know if I could do 10. I don't know if I could do 10.
I wrote a list of more than 10. And ultimately, what I landed on was just trying to pick out these albums that felt very profane to me at the time I listened to them, and how they changed the way I viewed music. So, like, sure, I have like all-timers favorite albums, but I honestly can't say they like really changed the way I listen to music the way these and of course others have. There's no way it's just 10. But I try. So these are like very like formative. These aren't crazy picks. These aren't, anything out of left field. These are just like huge, some of them cliche albums that changed how I listen to music and what I wanted out of music. So that was some of my thought process.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm actually interested to see how many on your list would I put on my, if I had to, top 10 of all time list. So that should be interesting to think about.
It might just be 2.
No, even if it's just 2, then that's more than none. So I guess let's start. Let's start it out. What do you got?
Let's kick it off with my dream episode that when I wanted to cover like the first 5 years of Wu-Tang, which would have included their solo albums, but the way the podcast is, it didn't work out. I don't know how it could work out, but it was a dream of mine. But regardless, I want to start it with the 36 Chambers. This is the first hip hop album I've ever loved. I, to this day, love the Wu-Tang Clan so much. I think now in 2025, it's easy to forget how innovative these guys were and how different they were. Like now, it's kind of cool to be a nerd in rap, but these guys were like nerdy before it was cool. They were bringing in the chess. They were bringing in the comic book influences. Like when Ghostface was calling himself Tony Stark, no one knew who the fuck Tony Stark was. Yeah. Like this guy's so like they're that far ahead of the curve. They were, for better or worse, one of the earliest hip hop groups to view themselves as a business. They had the clothing line. They had the other merchandise thing, and that changed the face of hip hop forever. But beyond that, like RZA is one of the greatest producers ever, and he assembled some of the greatest rappers ever. Obviously, you know, there's 9 guys in here. Some are better than others.
A lot of guys in this.
But also just to like be able to like say your childhood friends with ODB, to say your childhood friends with Method Man, to say your childhood friends with Ghostface Killer and Chizza and all these other guys, even Raekwon, and others, You God, Master Killer, even Capadonna. Like, so many of them are so unique and so talented, and they all came up together. That's just so insane to me. And this is just like, all these are no skip, but like start to finish. And like some of my favorite hip hop skits, I feel like you're just being injected into, it's like a familiar world, but they're using lingo and vocabulary that you've never heard anybody use before.
Oh, yeah.
like, yo, where's my killer tape at? What are you talking about?
Yeah,
like, what's on this killer tape? Is it a VHS? Is it a cassette tape?
Oh, the way they call everybody God. That's another one.
Oh, yeah, they call everyone, or like, yeah, or like the back and forth between Raekwon and Meth with the all fucking so
yeah.
so your asshole. It's just so vulgar.
Feeding you.
And you know, they gave me the term form like Voltron, which I'll use to this very day. It's not just impacted me musically, but culturally as well. And not a lot of albums can say that. Yeah,
this is an album that probably needs no elaboration for me because this was one of the first. It took me a long time to get into hip hop because I was a rock boy for my whole life and family upbringing and stuff. But this was like the third hip hop album that I ever heard, or maybe the second that I actually like. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and listen to this. And I was like, oh yeah, this is obviously this is great. No wonder everyone kept telling me to listen to this my whole life, and I just said no for some reason.
I heard other ones before it, but this was the first one I like unabashedly like loved. So
next on your list,
I'm going with Mastodon, Crack the Skye.
Crack the Skye, really?
Crack the Skye. So all those things I said about albums could probably be more applied to Leviathan. To me, it's just Leviathan and Crack the Skye are like so neck and neck, and they're such different albums. But the reason Crack the Skye edges out Leviathan to me is it feels so much more emotionally devastating to me when you get into this this wacky lore that Mastodon has created, this like astral projection and these themes of life and death. And like Leviathan is probably technically more proficient. It's like zanier. It's different for sure. But Crack the Skye, it to me is the perfect blending of psychedelia and metal and just the like world of Mastodon. And I think it's such a unique album to me because it was like Leviathan and then Blood Mountain, and I love Blood Mountain. But then to like go from Blood Mountain to this was so jarring and so different. And I thought it was just a huge evolution to the band where it's like, this is different and it doesn't feel like a betray to like their sound. And I love the production on it. I love the riffs and, I mean, yeah, they're one of my favorite bands ever, and maybe some days Leviathan can edge it out, but end of the day, like some of these lyrics are just, I think they're pretty like way more emotional than anything on Leviathan, which makes sense. Leviathan is a very, very loose adaptation of Moby Dick. So.
Very, very loose. Yeah, this one. I remember when I first heard this one, and I thought, like, God damn, they did it again. Because I got to Mastodon pretty late, so I was listening to these years after they were released, but I was going in order one by one. And I got this one. I was like, holy shit, this is actually like to this day. I mean, I have like a short list of like my all time favorite 12 to 15 minute songs. The Last Baron is always on there. I mean, it goes by it goes by so fast. It's one of the shortest 13-minute songs I've ever heard.
It's so crazy, and there's shorter songs on there, but I think The Last Baron actually does like encapsulate what I'm talking about of this weird dark prog metal world of Mastodon.
Yeah, it's beautiful. There's a lot of this is also like I feel like the first time they got pretty dramatic with some of the songwriting. There's like big emotional moments. The first time we get Braun singing lead on he does Oblivion. He sings, but he also sings on Divinations a little bit. But on Oblivion, it's like, they had this whole time they've had a third singer and he sounds real good. Unlike them, completely different style. Maybe you don't like clean vocals so much. Whoever doesn't like them, I think he sounds fucking great. I think he sounds perfect for that song. It's like, hell yes.
Yeah, and this R.I.P. Brent Hines.
R.I.P. God damn. Yeah, wasn't he like the driving force behind this album?
Yeah, there was. I guess it depends on who you ask, but this is the infamous. He jumped in some pawn thing in Vegas and was running down a casino, spinning his wet shirt around, hit Shaho from System of a Down, and he had his bodyguards do a number on Mr. Hines.
That's what happened. I didn't know it was fucking Shaho.
Yeah. Guy who doesn't like to practice his bass.
The fucking
famously.
The absolute weak link of System of a Down. I kept saying Shavo. I said Shaho like an idiot. Shaho.
So yeah, Hines had severely concussed, suffering with vertigo. He said it didn't feel good to write songs on the electric guitar while feeling like that. So a lot of this was written on acoustic guitar, and that's where you get some of I think that's where you get some of these like imagery about like astral projection, or maybe I'm reaching a little bit, but they have like lyrics like punching these holes in my head, and it's just, I think that's where you get some of that more spacier stuff, was him feeling out of body with the vertigo.
Yeah. It's definitely one of their better albums. Although I don't know, it brings a little tinge of sadness for this one, because it does remind you of like, oh yeah, Brent was great, Brent was troubled, now Brent's gone, and that's just the way it is.
If anything, the album's probably sadder. I haven't listened to the whole thing start to finish in a while, but
yeah,
now I can do whatever I want. So
indeed. So next on your list,
keeping up with the epic early 2000s prog rock, I'm going to do the Mars Volta, Francis the Mute.
Of all the albums from the Mars Volta, Francis the Mute is the one you pick.
I love it. I don't care. I've spent hours dissecting these lyrics when I was a young lad. I realized there's a lot of bullshit on here in terms of like atmospheric sounds, but I think if you take that away and you're talking about like pound for pound songwriting and riffs, it's fucking insane. Like, I get why people love Deloused. I get why Deloused is a crowd pleaser, but like, I don't think the Volta's written a better album than Francis the Mute.
Interesting. I'm on their wiki. I didn't realize, maybe, I don't know if we talked about this on our Mars Volta episode a million years ago, but Pitchfork, I mean, I don't like this album. This is like one of my lesser favorite Mars Volta's album because of all the dicking around, even though the song parts are excellent. Pitchfork gave us a 2 out of 10. I would give it a fucking 2 out of 10. Are you crazy? That's crazy. That's crazy.
No, Pitchfork is a crazy publication.
Out of fucking minds.
I've never cared for them.
No, same.
No, this is a beast of an album. And yeah, like no one does prog like the Volta. It was this also, like, at the time, I remember like hearing DeLau's and being like, it's the guys from At the Drive-In, because I didn't really fuck with At the Drive-In. Like, this is insane. How do they have this in them? And then the jump from DeLau's to Francis the Mute is just crazy. Like, yeah, you take away all that like ambient noise stuff, like Cygnus and Cassandra Gemini, just fucking beast prog rock songs. And to be able to experience this album live, most of these songs live, is just insane. Like, I love the Volta, but there was something about John Theodore where he just like fit, and I'm sorry, like personalities didn't work out for whatever, but like they're playing live and in studio was this on a whole nother level.
Interesting. For a band that I know is that important to you, I know you love this album. You did put this on as your personal favorite in the episode,
Yes.
right? Yeah, that makes perfect
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So yeah, I guess it's not so surprising in the end.
I mean, and yeah, this opened me up a little bit more to like being like wanting to maybe hear like more Latin riffs, or like the same friend that I said dressed up like the milkman. He was a character. He's like, I'm not even joking. Like those first 3 Santana albums, I was like, I know you said you weren't joking, but you're fucking with me. He's like, no, if you like love the Volta, you got to check out those first 3 Santana albums. And he's fucking right. And yeah, they are like this blend of like that early Santana and King Crimson with their own, you know, Omar and Cedric spin on it. And for my money, there's nothing like this album.
Fair enough.
There's no, like, I don't think I get into like King Crimson and Emerson, Lake and Palmer and things like that, and various like more obscure like psychedelic bands without the Volta. So
I can see why. Yeah, then I can see why it was that important. Your next pick.
Next one is one of my boring picks, but I don't care. It's Led Zeppelin IV.
My least favorite Led Zeppelin album.
Look,
so far, a lot of my least favorite albums are on your list.
Yeah,
that's not true.
That's why I was like, maybe two.
Yeah.
Look, this one has all the hits. Like every song is a hit. But if you could go back in time before you've heard these songs, where like you're listening to this with fresh ears, the same way 36 Chambers was the first hip hop album I ever loved. This was like the first like older, I don't really like the term because it's kind of lazy, but like this was like the first classic rock album I loved. This like opened it up, and I know it's a little like, it's not as like as you get older, or at least to me, classic rock gets less interesting. This because I've heard so much now. But this was like so like I have a John Bonham tattoo, and the playing on it, the songwriting, how catchy everything is. And it was the first time I think I realized like you can be like virtuosos and write like good, catchy, hooky music.
Yeah. You don't have to make it a prog wank fest all the time. You can, and sometimes it can be very, very cool.
And even though Stairway to Heaven is arguably one of the
biggest,
wankiest.
the most, indeed. None
but
wank more.
Again, if you could like Eternal Sunshine your brain and delete at the million times you've heard that, like the very first time you heard that is, I'm sorry, it's pretty magical.
You know, I didn't think about that until right now. I wonder if you were to Eternal Sunshine certain big albums like this or Nevermind or whatever the hell, so that you could hear them and be blown away like the first time. If you did that for all music, or if you did that, would you be as into other stuff that's a little bit more difficult and abrasive if you didn't have that foundation already set?
It's definitely an interesting question. Or like, let's say you could just delete like one album from your brain, but now you have the context of all these other ones. Would would you like listen to it and you'd be like, oh, this is derivative or less interesting because now you're for lack of a better word, your cup is more full. You've heard so many things. So
Yeah.
it's an interesting thought experiment, but in the more optimistic side, I'm gonna land on like when I was a wee lad and just like hearing this for the first time.
And the only way to really find out is if we start doing some dangerous experiments. So please sign up now for us to pick at your brain with needles and such.
Yeah.
So next on your list.
Next one is one we've talked about before. It's Madvillainy. Again, just completely changed the way I looked at music and hip hop. I never heard samples like this. I never seen a guy wearing a Russell Crowe gladiator mask, calling himself Dr. Doom, and it was one of those things where the whole package just worked for me, and it was one of the first times I heard like I was talking about Billy Woods on my year-end list, but this is like one of the first times I heard someone like rap over off-time stuff like on accordion. And now it's like a go-to like staple, like you listen to hip hop, you listen to this album, but like in real time, and like when it came out, and like this was during one of Mike's favorite year, the early 2005s, when it like awful year for like mainstream pop music, and there was this big push back against rappers like Lil Wayne and T.I. and just it's so weird how these guys are kind of more beloved now, but that's a different conversation. And yeah, there was like this big pushback and people wanting something more real, more off the beaten path, and MF Doom and Madlib provided that for us. So
indeed they did. Yeah, even though I do appreciate the album, I didn't like it as much as a few other ones, which I've found maybe it's probably controversial, but I do see the significance. I appreciate the album.
It's very surreal now that it's like essential listening. If you love it, I'm glad it is, but it's just like, oh yeah, that's just me showing my age, I guess.
I guess so. Yeah, it was 2004. I mean, goddamn, I can't believe how old it is now.
Yeah, it's over 20 years old.
Wild. I remember when the 80s was 20 years ago. God damn it. That's fucking horrific to think about.
Yeah, oh man, I think I saw some posts that was, I forget, it was like they were trying to put in perspective like the way video game consoles are released, and they're like, right now the GameCube is as old as the first Nintendo was when the GameCube came out. I'm like,
fucking great. Yeah, that's super depressing.
Yeah.
Whoa. The sixth one on your list, what you got?
Another boring pick, but I don't care. This is my list. I'll do what I want. The Beatles, the White Album. This was the first double album I loved before The Wall, before various other things. And yeah, it was just like, it kind of ruined the Beatles for me, where I almost didn't want to listen to anything else, or I was hesitant to go back and listen to the more poppy stuff, because this was so unique and different. Like, you have like, what the fuck's the USSR song? And
back in the USSR?
Back in the USSR, and like, Well, My Guitar Gently Weeps. And yeah, sure, Piggies is one of the most dog shit songs ever. But outside of that, it's just like every song was so different and so unique. And at the time, I hadn't heard anything like that. It's one of my earliest memories of like just sitting down and looking at like lyrics and liner notes, and it just felt like I was hanging out with the band to some extent.
Well, that is certainly one hell of it's a lot better than my exposure to the Beatles, which was ambiently by my dad, who never shut the fuck up about it and kind of ruined it for me until I was an adult and be like, all right, I'll go back and listen to the goddamn Beatles. It's a lot more of a innocent and so heartwarming exposure to the band.
I guess there's a dark side to it where that I this thought my dad's house was boring, but he had records and I would just put on random albums, and this was also one of them. So I guess, you know, dad's, yeah. But he didn't force it on. I picked it out and put it on, and also one of my earliest exposures to like playing records as well.
That's definitely going to leave a mark. No, yeah, I can easily see why it would be amongst the all-time greats for you for that. I mean, it's sort of the all-time greats for everyone, I guess. But for different reasons, I think it's a lot less cliche. For the reason in the sense of that it's your first time sitting with an album and reading along with it. Like that leaves a mark.
Yeah, and it's just like I just thought like George Harrison's probably my favorite Beatle, and it was just like, this is so criminal. This is like a double album. He's got like 2 songs on here, but that's just like kind of the MO. Like he'll get like 1 song, and
yeah, Godzilla's take over the rest.
Yeah, but even like Helter Skelter, like that had like some punk vibes to it. It's very diverse, and you know, everyone loves the Beatles, but yeah, sometimes, you know, it's cliche, but sometimes like you're gonna sit there and pretend you don't like the Beatles. Who the fuck? Not you particularly, but other people.
Yeah, you like the Beatles. You just don't like what the Beatles represent. That's all you don't like, baby.
Yeah. It's just become a like tired talking point. But anyways.
So you're number 7. Or not number 7, but the next one.
Yes. This was a band that was on my bucket list, and perhaps if we had more time or were better at those Patreon requests, or gave you people less control, I would have loved to do an Outcast episode, and I'm going with Stankonia.
What a name. I've not heard it.
It's amazing. It's so fucking good. It truly is like a landmark album when it came out at the time. I feel like all of my hip hop albums on here like changed what I wanted from hip hop and what I understood hip hop to be, because on the surface, okay, it's street music, it's people talking about their struggles and this and that, and you think, you know, and like Tupac and Biggie, and like here you had this shirtless on like the album cover, this like shirtless guy with like flattened hair with his hands out, standing next to like that traditional rapper guy in front of a black and white American flag. And like that's very much what Outkast is. Like they're the best peanut butter and jelly sandwich ever. They balance each other out so completely, and in a way, because they did their double album where it was like their solo album, and they did one more album after this, but so like in a weird way, this is kind of like their last proper album. And I think them this being so weird, like you listen to the album, it's very like soulful, and like B.O.B. is very like rock driven. You got the like electric guitars, and it's this crazy fast thing, and yeah, just like they're from like the South, they're from Atlanta, they're not East or West Coast. There's this Outkast, and after I heard that, it was this like, listen to this, and then Aquemini, and it's just like a great journey, like this album, and then discovering Outkast's music. And I know they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I know like Hey Ya was like one of the hugest fucking songs ever. But like once in a while, I'm like, I do feel like Outkast isn't like being given the same like breath that like a Biggie or Tupac gets.
Definitely not. And there's a duo band group and then Andre 3000 in general is one that I've neglected forever. So I was hoping to do an episode on them at one point, but it was not to be. But something that must happen, and is inevitably going to happen.
And yeah, like, again, this has like all the hits on it. But yeah, tell me you don't like Miss Jackson, you don't like So Fresh and So Clean, like old white women were listening to Miss Jackson. You know how crazy that was in like 99? Like
yeah, fair enough.
Also, it was kind of like the last like dying breath of like mainstream hip hop being kind of weird. Like it, not just hip hop, rock as well, but yeah, music got less weird in the mainstream after this.
Yeah, the homogenization of that DMX 50 Cent style took over, where they all I can't even describe it. I hate it, but it had this feel to it. It was like over the top machismo. It had this, but it was really shiny and cleaned up and boring as fuck. I found it to be just very boring.
Yeah, I was watching this video about how music is just the same, and he was talking about multiple genres on this one. And one of his talking points when he got to hip hop was, like hip hop, your style and being unique used to be your calling card, so much so that if you sounded too much like another guy, they'd relentlessly talk shit about you. And now that's just non-existent.
Yeah, indeed.
But I digress, and going in a totally, because I just wrote these down. There's no order.
Yeah.
8th, Deaf Heaven's Sunbather.
And of course, this would make my all-time list for sure. Yeah.
All of the feelings I've been talking about with the previous albums, this is the most recent one that made me feel like that. And I don't mean, this sounds bad, but it may be the last album I ever feel like that. I don't know. I don't know if I can feel like that anymore. And that's just, I think that's just getting older. And again, like my cup is very full. I know all these things now, and I can hear something like a liturgy or bareness or a lingua where I'm like, this is powerful, this is undeniable. But to like sit there and be like, I am listening to something totally new. I don't know if it can happen again. This may this may be the last time for me.
I don't think you should put that kind of restraint on yourself, because my most recent was Lingua, and that was and that was much more recent than Sunbather. Yeah. So it just depends what resonates with you, and you never know where it's going to come from.
I don't.
To say that it can't come, I don't think that's. I think nature has more in store.
Because you're right, you are correct, and yeah, like I didn't listen to black metal. I didn't fuck with black metal. I heard everyone talking about this album, and just there's just something so undeniable about this album, and why I think it's so silly that there's so many people who, from like day one, been pushing back on it. It's so stupid. Like you just can't deny this album.
It's one of the greatest things ever conceived. It's genius stuff. It single-handedly, I think, made both of us fans of black metal.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I care for like an Empire or Emperor or Mayhem or even like a Celtic Frost had it not been for this album.
Yeah, I like everyone else who listens to music, took a morbid curiosity with the Norwegian black metal scene for sure. But I don't think many people enjoy that music. I'm able to finally enjoy that music because of Sunbather. This is the ultimate entry point, because yeah, it is black metal, but boy, are these inviting, pretty ass riffs that happen to be played like black metal.
And yeah, like I don't even think I really messed with shoegaze. But I didn't it didn't feel like this big thing. Like maybe eventually I'd get into it, but this definitely like, oh hell yeah, I wanna listen to like My Bloody Valentine now and Slow Dive and to the point where one year Slow Dive even made it on like my top 10 favorite albums of the year.
Last year.
Yeah, so fuck, that was last year, huh? Anyways,
I think maybe it was the year before. I forgot.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but so yeah, this and yeah, the albums like this, they always come out of nowhere. I wasn't familiar with Deaf Heaven before this, and if it does come, I expect it'll be the same way. It won't be from a band I know. It'll just be completely out of nowhere.
It's I definitely agree with that. But this album, like I had only heard their first album and then saw them live before hearing this album. This album had been out. This album had been people, and I heard their first album and thought like, this is cool. I'm not really like, it's fine. It's fine. And that's all. I'm like, they're a cool band live. And then I heard this album, I was like, it's the greatest thing ever written. What the fuck? What, like, I need to see them again just so I can like appreciate more. Now I really don't care for that first album at all. And this is one of the fucking, easily would probably make a top 10 for me as well. There's just so much that made me feel on this album. This album made me feel shit, dude. I don't even know how else to explain it.
Yeah, it's the black metal album where you're allowed to feel shit. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, it's not focused on being super evil and aggressive and heavy. It's intense and spiritual, and it can kind of give you a spiritual experience, and then it gives you moments where you can breathe, and it's really pretty. It's heartbreaking, but it is very pretty, and it's one of the greatest albums ever made, easily. But next, your last one.
Oh no, there's two more, right?
Two more. Sorry, two more.
Yeah. The last one that would probably be on your list as well, and that's Metallica, Master Puppets.
Yep.
I remember just wanting to get into Metallica, asking for some Metallica albums for Christmas, and my friend Gary, his mom came in clutch. She didn't buy me the Black Album. She didn't buy me anything else. She bought me Master Puppets, and I like specifically remember like sitting down with my Walkman, putting that CD on, and like hearing the opening of Battery, and like that was my introduction to like thrash, and at that time the most extreme thing I ever heard, and just like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah, it's the first like album I ever got. I was like 7 years old or something like that. Yeah, it was very much like, what, the world is different now. Everything is what wouldn't be different. Done. Yeah, it's life changing album. This was my White Album for you. Like, this is the album that the first one I had like read along to everything, and I was just poured over the booklet and the photos and just listened to it religiously. Still have the CD in there somewhere. It's all fucking old and beaten up, but it's still there.
Also, at the time in the early 2000, like 2000, when I was getting into them, like this it almost felt like a different band. Like, you could open up the album and see these guys with long hair, and then like look at modern well, not like 2025 Metallica, but at the time, and it was just like hard to believe they were the same guys. Mm-hmm. So there was also that like that element of it where it was like, a band can change that much? Like, how is that even possible? Like, Metallica was the first band to show me that things could go south for the worse.
Yeah, they sure could. Sure could. Yeah, it's a couple good albums since Master Puppets, for sure. A handful, maybe 3. I would say 4, including Lulu. But
I mean, we're both fans of the Black. We do like the Black Album, but it's
Death Magnetic rules.
Yeah, there's been some mostly down since then, but
for sure.
It's cliche to say, but yeah, there's no Alex listening to metal without Master Puppets. So
yes, oh, absolutely,
me and a million other people.
Indeed. So was that is one more?
One more. The last one to explain my screen name is. Yeah, it's this. It's Deltron 3030, and it is self-titled. I had known who Del the Funky Homo Sapien is due to, the Gorillaz Clint Eastwood and the Tony Hawk games. You know, you got to wash your ass if you must.
Okay.
And then this shit. I never heard a sci-fi hip hop album before. This was the first. It started my love of Dan the Automator, who, you know, would go on to also do Dr. Octagon with Cool Keith and work on the Handsome Boy modeling school albums and Lovage and so many other things. And I had never heard production like this, where it was like, it was sleek, but not in like a derogatory way, the way like that hip hop you don't like from the early 2000s. It was like sleek because it was an album set in the future and it needed to be futuristic, and it just like nailed it. And it was so like, the beats were so creative. I'd never heard beats like this before. And like, even to this day, I think they're very creative. Like, you listen to something like Madness and the strings, and it's just like, Dan the Automator's the fucking man. And like, this is so good. They did like a sequel to it called Event 2 in like 2013. And even that's good. Not as good, but like, this was like, help like solidify my like journey more into like underground hip hop in a similar fashion that Madvillainy did.
Holy crap. Yeah, I've not heard this. And now I'm quite interested now. I'm actually genuinely curious.
It's like, I hate to do this to Del, because like, he has his solo work. He has his work with Hieroglyphics, which is it's all great. But I like, lyrically, this is Del's best he's ever been at. Like, he bought the best bars on this album.
Fucking Sean Lennon is on this album.
Yeah, this album was probably like the origins of the Gorillaz, because it has Dan Albin on it, who, you know, would do that. And yeah, just like this. And yeah, that's where I got like Octatron 3030 from. I just combined this album with Dr. Octagon, which is also worth your time, but also different. That's like, this is like the face of the future, where Dr. Octagon is like the dark, seedy underbelly of it. And even though this deals with some dystopian themes as well.
Fascinating stuff. And those are the 10 albums to shape Alex as you've known him for the past 6.5 years.
Yep. Everything else kind of, not everything, but a lot of things evolved and flowed from these 10 albums.
Amazing. And with that brings his time with every album ever to a close. Holy shit.
Yeah. The last time, well, for the foreseeable future, I need to mentally recover.
Yeah, me too.
You already recorded it. You got to keep going.
I'm still going. During the listening for all these year-end episodes, or the year-end albums, I was also listening to other albums for other episodes at the same time. So I was like, I'm red hot, glowing with heat because of overuse.
Yeah, and I did that too many times where I had to tap out. So
indeed. Do you have any parting words?
Man, what it feels weird, because like, I guess in the scheme of like YouTube, we have like a few thousand followers, but that's like 6,000 more people than I ever thought would listen to it. And yeah, all the cliche stuff, like, yeah, what a fucking journey, and like, thank you for thinking of me when you came up to it, and shout out to, you know, all the cool. I wasn't expecting to meet people through the podcast. Jamil and Chase and Cole. Saul Cole and talked to some people from across the pond, like John and Sam, and our friends like Connie and Hillary for like being early supporters of us, and yeah, it's great, and like I gotta see the Jesus Lizard for free because of this.
It's pretty sick. I still haven't seen them at all.
At all.
Time.
Yeah, like I never thought we'd get to see like albums in advance, and this kind of proves your mentality right, that if you show up once a week, it may not be an astronomical change, but eventually you'll get something out of it, and so your work ethic definitely paid off in that sense.
You get what you put into it. The more you put, and sometimes it's a lot. It's a fucking marathon. And sometimes it's like, all right, how long can you keep it up for? sometimes it's like, all right. Sometimes you just want something else, and you just want to move on to something else. And if you don't have the love for it, and you don't have that passion, then put all that shit into something else, and then watch the rewards of that.
That's the thing. If I were to stay on, it would be a detriment to you and the podcast if I forced myself to, and that's not good for anyone. So the option is leaving and leaving the integrity intact.
Never force anything. You got to follow your heart at all times. That goes for everyone listening too. Quit that job, or don't quit the job. Stay at the job. I don't know you know what I'm talking about. Whatever is relevant to you.
Keep that job,
force it.
But like look for a new one and then quit when you got the new.
Yeah. Find the thing that when someone asks you what you're up to, you're excited to talk about, not what you think what you think would be the most not just validating, but like don't tell them how stable and successful you are, because unless you care. Do the thing that if someone asks you what you're up to, you're excited to talk about. That's the thing. It's as simple as that. I didn't even think about it until recently. Like someone asks you what you're up to, and you talk about your job or little things you're doing, and you're kind of going through it for small talk. Talk about the thing that if you're not doing it, that means you need to do it. If you don't if there's a thing that if someone asks you that question and you don't know what to answer, you answer with the job thing or whatever, that means you're not doing what you should be doing. It's almost as simple as that. Think about if you had to defend your daily life to someone making small talk. It's something as minute as that. It's like, oh yeah, I probably should be doing that thing I've been putting off that I'm actually excited about. That's what you got to do.
That is sentiment and words I can absolutely get behind, and have been like just realizing that in like the past 5 years, and have been striving for that. So
hell yes. So thank you, Alex, and then thank you everyone on the Patreon, especially the Patreon. I mean,
the Patreon, of course. I listed some of you, but yeah, you guys are fucking like the best.
I mean, I'm really so genuinely thankful, because it's not just that they've been supporting for forever, which they have, which is like, oh, fucking amazing. Like the fact that they've been supporting for so long, but it's like they pledge and they support because, they get to request an artist, and then they got to stay on board. And then the thing is, we do the episode, we do the thing that they ask for, and they stay for years because they just like hanging out and supporting. So you have no idea how like transformative it's been, and how fulfilling, and how, I mean, we're just without you guys, you probably would have tapped out a long time ago. So that's, thank you very, very much.
100% would have tapped out a long time.
Yeah. And thank you to all the people who've been supporting the regulars. Thank you to Tom, who like somehow joined the ship and is now like, a contributor to the show. Thank you to my lady friend, who's been very helpful in giving me like even ideas for like the new direction of Peter. She's really helped me bounce off ideas and gave me some good ones that are now being implemented, because your boy needed some help. Alex saying he was leaving. I'm like, oh fuck, what now? I gotta figure something out. So because of the help of everyone and also support, I think it's going to be a great show. It's going to keep doing better, and Alex is going to be happier doing what he wants to do. And I think that's what we all want, is everyone to be happy.
Yes, I'm looking forward to the new year, not because I'm one of those new year, new me people, it just so happens that a lot of things happen to be ending in December and a lot of new things are happening next month. So like if this was happening in like the middle of summer, I would just be excited for like that next chapter. Would this be happening middle? If this so happens that this time it lines up with a new year. So
somehow it seems to be working out that way. A lot of things. I'm not one of those. Yeah, again, not the same as you. Not New Year. New Year, same old bullshit is usually how it goes.
Yeah.
But this year, for some reason, things just like everything's just turning. It is a beginning of a new chapter. I do not think I'm the only one. I don't want to get all woo woo, but I think that's like not isolated instance. I think a lot of people are experiencing that this year for some reason.
Well, that's I think if any time you can get kind of sentimental, it would be in a year-end recap, right?
yeah, it would have to be. So, I guess well, until we see what happens next, do all the stuff, like the video, stick around. There's gonna be good stuff next year, new chapter and whatnot. You follow me on all the social media at Panda Monkey. Follow Alex on Bluesky on his new life and journey at
Octatron 3030. There's this wrestling hot takes there, but I don't know if I do something. I'll post it on there, I guess.
There it is. And follow our history guy, Tom Osmond, who I just name dropped, Tom Osmond Sounds, social media, TomOsmondSounds.com for his music, his podcast, whatever comes next. I'm sure he's got a lot of stuff coming in the new year as well. And he's also going to be a part of this, going forward with every album ever. There's going to be stuff with him and other. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Patreon, you know where to go. Patreon.com/every album ever. There's all kinds of stuff there. Watch the video. It's for free for everyone. You want to be a part of the Patreon. There's a bunch of stuff, bunch of perks for those who want to join. And in the coming year and future episodes, it's good stuff. Go there. Hell yes. My music. There's a link to that on my EP in the description. I'm going to be, I think the goal is new release next year or by around next year. So stay tuned for that as well. So Alex, it's been a hell of a ride and it's time to go.
If I may quote the great Kenneth Omega, I must bid you adieu, goodbye, good night, and bang.